several issues. And I didn't say that you should exclude genocide, but it's not the only thing you have to offer. And it's not only the pity, it's just that you have the occasion and you say, oh, we were the people that were living in Sochi. And of course there is a reason, and you have to tell that reason why you're not living any longer there. This is the occasion anyway. But my only warning was not only to concentrate on that, and that the Georgians accepted the genocide has to do also with the Abkhazian war, because they want to split between, so it's not that easy, you know, and well, you know that. No, of course, we will have to take that, and I fully agree with Lars. It's not the time to split between, it's just a cultural event. Culture is also politics. And if you prepare it in that time, if you prepare the culture, and if you stress upon the culture of the Cherkess in Sochi, in the connection with Sochi, it's very political. And also the museum is not unpolitical. So it's also taking action. We're only discussing about the way you prepare it, and the way you present it. You know, and if you, what I keep saying is, you can talk about the genocide, but you always have to say it's because it's not, you're not asking for pity, you're asking for justice, but you're asking for attention also. This is what you said. It's also about attention. It's 5,000 years. It's an ethnic group that is existing there for 5,000 years, and this is even the bigger crime to try to wipe out a group which is existing for such a long time, if you can say it's a bigger crime or lesser, but it's more dramatic even. And this you always have to repeat. We are here, we are the original Europeans, you're all coming from us. We are the basis of your culture. You see, when you have the discussions whether the Greek are staying in the big European Parliament, in the European group, they say the Greeks are the basis of our culture, so we shouldn't exclude them. But the Circassian have been before. The wine and everything we got comes from there. So this is also a fact. You have to say we are the basis of your culture, and this is we have to transmit at the same time. This is what we try. So we are not disagreeing in a sense, you know. But when I have discussed with some young Circassians and they say we make suicide attacks in Sochi, then this gives me a pity, and I say this is too much, and this is, you do the Russians a favor if you kill Circassians themselves. So this is what, if it comes to that extent, I say this is, you have to think in other ways of attacking or to claim who you are. But if you use the opportunity to make for the Dutch Parliament clear about genocide, that's perfect, you know. But it shouldn't stop there. You see always the point of the Armenians. They insist so much that they neglect too many other things, and they narrow themselves too much. And this is for me bad examples. I have a lot of pity for them, you know, because they have suffered a lot, but they narrow in many cases too much. And we shouldn't do the same mistake. This doesn't say you're not talking about one thing or so. It's all about strategies.
So what I do believe that by saying genocide, we should get attention. And after that, then we can impose our culture. For example, when you market the genocide, people will look at it and say that, oh, also those Caucasians are like European and they are like us. And then they will have an empathy. So it will, I mean, the genocide will be debate and the culture can be imposed later. But the thing is that we are speaking about it, but we don't know what to do next. I mean, we say that we should do a lobby, but we are the lobby, and I don't know what's our next step.
That's true. I fully agree with that critics. There's too much talk about what is the strategy instead of going on. This is really a problem. And this is where we try to escape. I don't know whether we manage that or not, but this is really a problem. We shouldn't do. You are all the lobby, and there should be some moves. Yes, that's true.
Yeah. Next. Benim sorum farklı olacaktı. Askerliğe kısa bir düzeltme yapmak istiyorum da veya tecrübede mi yanlışlık olduğunu bilmiyorum. Bin adet Avrupa'da Çerkez yaşadığını ifade etti. Herhalde bu tecrübede bir yanlışlık olduğunu sanıyorum. Yani bizim geldiğimiz bölge, Düsseldorf, Köln bölgesi, sadece Köln şehrinde 700 ile 1000 arasında Çerkez ailesi, yani bin adet artık nereden çıktı bilmiyorum da, genel Avrupa'da 1000 adetin nereden çıktığını öğrenmek istiyorum. Yani bir yanlışlık oldu herhalde. Biz Avrupa genelinde 40 ile 60 binden bahsediyoruz. Ve bu 1000 adet biraz yanlışlık oldu herhalde.
Professor Kapke, I just wanted to bring up an issue that is of a concern, contemporary concern for the Circassians today. Before that, I would like to, I mean, someone can argue that the Circassian genocide is unique as compared to the Armenian or to the Holocaust, and I will argue that later on in my speech, that the Circassian genocide is by virtue of having 90% of our population outside Circassia and having been suffering conditions and circumstances mostly imposing on us indirectly and directly, then our genocide by virtue of those conditions and the nature of the large number of our diaspora is in essence continuing, and that is going to bring in further deterioration of our Circassian identity and bring us too far away in the future from being able to reconnect back with our identity. And that is a concern for us as Circassian. Every day we wake up in the morning, we look in the mirror and we ask ourselves, are we still Circassians? And then you will find Circassian mothers and daughters, and every time when Circassians meet together, they ask about their children, and the first question comes to their mouth, do they speak Circassian? So, but there are many Circassians who have been working on conditions to improve the language, the culture, and all these other things, and this has been the case for the past 147 years. And I could tell you an example. In the United States of America, today there are Circassians who have been outside Circassia for 7 generations, lived in 3 or 4 different countries, and yet when a Circassian is born in the United States, as an American, the first language they speak is, I have seen this, is Circassian. If you tell today any American that you have a Japanese person who has been living there for 5 generations, and his child is born and he speaks Circassian, it would be a very unusual thing in the United States. So we've done a pretty good job in keeping our identity against all odds. But this group of people, this activism, the genocide and the Sochi Olympics, has risen recently in order to, I guess, by coincidence, give us the opportunity to recover from the past tragedies rather quickly. And that we have been taking advantage of. And there are other groups who have been working on the language and the reform of culture and keeping the Gabza and all these other beautiful things intact as much as possible. And it's a race with time, and I don't know whether or not we are going to succeed in that race, but we have been working on it. And the focal point that is going to change the entire argument regarding the Circassian genocide and how important that is for us, that is its continuity up until today. Today, I am a victim of the genocide. Almost every other person of Circassian descent sitting in this room, they would not have been here had it not been for a genocide that was committed against us and continuing until today, depriving us from the opportunity to reconnect back with the folks. Case in point, Syrian Circassians who are in Syria today, they do not have the opportunity to enjoy free repatriation to their motherland, Circassia, as clearly stated in the Declaration of the Indigenous Peoples' Rights in the United Nations Declaration of 2006. So, please, I mean, in the future, I beg everyone, when we think about the Circassian genocide, we've got to talk about the nature of its continuity that is bringing us all apart right here. Thank you.
Yeah, but I think we don't disagree. I fully support that, and I'm very much impressed how Circassians have managed over 7 generations to maintain that culture. And this is one of the reasons for me to support them. And because I'm really impressed, because it's fully right that very few nations and ethnic groups are able to do that, what you have done. And this deserves full support, and this deserves to be told to the rest of the world. So we have no disagreement in that. It's just the way, of course, I'm working in a museum. I have certain methods and have certain ways how I can do, and I'm fighting with culture. My means of going, well, not to war, but to a fight is fighting with culture, using culture as a tool. But the end is the same, to tell everything about this culture, to tell everybody about this culture, to help you to maintain it. And of course you're right about the uniqueness of the genocide that you had suffered and you're continuing to suffer. I fully agree about that. It's just the way to tell it. And but we are discussing that. It's not that I tell the Circassians, you have to do that. We are discussing how we do that. And it takes a lot of time. This is the problem, because time is running, because we have so many discussions. But the discussions are also the way to spread this knowledge and to get people to think about strategies to bring them together. This has its value in itself. So we don't disagree at the end.
Thank you very much. Mr. Cook and Mr. Richmond, I would like to have one short question. You know our claims, Circassian claims, I think. I would like to ask only one question. Which country or government support our claims in the world? Thank you.
Well, we have to count Georgia into Europe, so it's Georgia, but I think at present it's none. And this is what Ismail Bey put. It's a long way. You have to be very concrete. You have to go to the parliament, tell them why they should be. And it's like Walter said about the American government. The European governments are the same, lazy. What's in their national interest? And if they have to fight with Russia, with our former chancellor says this, Schroeder says that Putin is a very pure Democrat. So this, in other countries, you would say this is a cabaret. But he says that. We don't even have to comment that. But so you see some tendencies. It is a very difficult issue. And this is why I said we have to make that on all levels known to our governments. And they don't have to struggle with, they don't like to struggle with Turkey. I remember 10 years ago we made an event in our museum about Cherkess, and the General Consulate of Turkey was protesting, and I said, I don't understand. If I do something about Kurdish, which I did too, I would understand your protest, but it's about your allies. And nevertheless, you can't do that. It's all Turks. So even you have to start to quarrel with the Turkish. And so you have to quarrel with everybody. So we can do that as a lobby, and I did that several times, and I'm going to do that. But the governments are more lazy, are more cautious with that. So we have to create the lobby. It's still not there, because all minorities are suspicious. Because every country has to deal with minorities, and if you support you only support minorities in the Cold War. Before you could be to tease the Russians or something like that, which was not healthy for the minority either. But you know that they have their difficulties with the minorities. I remember this was another story, but I remember we did a big exhibition about Kurds, and so there was big protest of the Turkish government and so on. And there was Madame Mitterrand. She was telling the Turks how they should do and how they should deal. And then I was defending Turkey, because the Turks had only taken over the laws from the French, how to suppress, oppress minorities. And what the genocides the French had done in former times, the Turks just had taken over that manner. It wasn't, they were not even that guilty like that, and it was quite funny.